Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Turnabout podcast. I'm your host, Aris,
And I'm your host, Lucie.
and on today's episode, we thought we would rank and rate the games, all 8 games, which are the 6 main games in the series, as well as the 2 investigations games.
Just a little warning, there will be some spoilers in this episode because we're going to be discussing most of the games in details. So, sorry about that.
Yes,
This
spoiler
time we gave you
alert.
warning.
Last time we forgot.
Spoiler alert. Yes.
We gave out our spoiler warning at 38 minutes, I think.
Yes.
So sorry if
And
we
we
spoiled
had
anything
already
to you.
spoiled a lot of stuff. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. But today will be an
Okay.
especially spoilery episode, so spoiler warning. And with that out of the way, I
Yes.
think we should just jump right into it, right?
Okay, let's do it. Should we first rank them or rate them?
I think we should take each game in the series by... We should do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, investigations 1, investigations 2, and then as we go along, review them, give them a score out of 10, and at the end,
Sure.
make a list from best to worst.
Okay, sure.
You can start.
So first game ever, Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright, or is it Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney? I don't know which.
I think it's
order it
Phoenix
is.
Wright
I think
Ace Attorney, released in
I
2001.
think it's Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney 2. I was 2 in 2001. Very small baby. I personally really like that game. I think it's amazing. I think it's just such a great introduction to the whole series. And it sticks out from the other games as it doesn't have, I mean, it kind of does, but it has a less of a fantastical, like, spirits element to
Yep.
it. Like, it's more realistic, even though I'm pretty sure Maya does channel Mia, so, I mean, but I think 2 days ago, I was watching a real lawyer play the first case of that game to see
Okay,
how it
on
would
YouTube.
compare. It was like a funny video, yeah, on YouTube. And it was really interesting. Of course, it's like not accurate at all, but I think what's so interesting is that everyone could play this game and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like it's such an easy game to get into and to like, and it's so interactive and you really get into the story. I think it's such a brilliant game. The way it's shaped, like with Phoenix bluffing and so having to involve the player in that way, the rookie element of it, I think it's so great. And okay, so when I think of this game, I don't technically think of Rise from the Ashes.
No.
I know.
We talked about
I'll
this
just
before.
say I think we've talked about this in the podcast, but I think for me the 4Ks, I'll just talk about the 4Ks first and then I'll talk about
Okay,
Rise of the Ashes. I think the 4Ks it's a very coherent story. And you couldn't remove one. I think that the 4Ks are all super important for the story. I think
Yep.
everything, like, there's no one case that feels out of place or could be removed. I think that's why it's such a perfect game. Like, first episode, Larry, Mia, Phoenix. Second episode, Maya. Like, the beginning of the relationship and trust between Phoenix and Maya. Third case, I love the third case. Edgeworth, I mean, we've discovered Edgeworth before, but Edgeworth starts helping us. Such a compelling villain. Vasquez, Phoenix feeling powerless, Maya, everything. And then last case, amazing. Edgeworth as your client. I was blown away when I first played it. And I honestly think it's a 9 out of 10 for me.
The game is a
If we're
9 out
talking
of
about
10.
ratings. Yes, a 9 out
Even
of
with
10.
Rise from the Ashes.
So, Rise from the Ashes is not a bad case per se, I would say. I think it has loads of good elements. I just think within that game, it could be removed and it wouldn't change the story. I think that's one of those cases where you could pretty much put in like you could put in justice for all. You know what I mean? Like it's not that
Okay.
it's not that relevant to the game story. For me it's an extra. For me it's kind of like a DLC,
Yeah.
which I know it's not.
Yeah.
But for me it's kind of like an optional play. There's no Maya. I do like Emma Sky and I do like her apparition. I do like many of the characters in it, and I think the murder is interesting. And the Blue Badger. But for me, it feels more like a DLC.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stick it to my 9 for this game.
All right.
What about you?
Wait, before I start, which video did you see?
Yes.
Was it the one by BuzzFeed?
I think it might be.
Is she a woman
We'll put
lawyer?
it in the description. She's a woman lawyer,
Yeah.
and she calls Mia the dominatrix.
Yes. She's amazing.
Yes, have you seen that?
She has a YouTube channel and it's on
Really?
law.
I should watch that.
Shout out to the woman from the BuzzFeed.
Okay, we're gonna put both videos in the description.
Yes.
Both the video where she plays it and her channel.
Yeah,
because
we'll link it
she
below.
was so entertaining. I think she should do Let's Play when she plays all of them.
I wanted her to continue playing. I literally wanted her. I want her to do Let's Play. Okay, shout out to the lawyer woman. We'll link her channel below.
Thank you. And Mia is not a dominatrix.
Yeah, she's hot,
great
but she's not a
attorney.
dominatrix. The video was 1 year ago, so maybe. I hope she's. I mean, let's just be realistic. She's not gonna listen to this, but if she does ever,
No, she's definitely not.
If she ever does, if you're listening to this, Miss Lawyer Woman, I just really hope you could do a Let's
Miss
Play.
Lawyer
I would
Woman.
watch it every week.
Yes. You know what? We could, if you're watching this, Miss Lawyer Woman, let us, the three of us, do a Let's Play of the game. You could play it and we could be by your side just telling you what to do.
Yes, and you could always be a guest on our podcast.
Yes. If you want to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know.
Great topic for an episode. What's real and what's not in the world of Ace Attorney in terms of law.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you this, but because of the game, I wanted to be a lawyer for the longest time, and was pretty disappointed when I found out that the game wasn't realistic at all. So that would be for another episode, definitely.
And your good friend who came to visit studies law. My good friend
I have several friends
from where we studies law.
who are in law school. Yeah. Okay. Your turn for the first game.
So I think the first game does an amazing job in laying the groundwork for the upcoming games. I think it sets up the lore. I mean, pretty much everything in the next games derives from the first game. You have Emma Sky popping up as the investigator in Apollo Justice and Spirit of Justice. You have... Was she? No. Dual Destinies was Bobby Fulbright. But you have Gordy from Gord Lake popping up in Investigations 2. Manfred von Karma popping up in the Investigations game. It sets up the space and whatever for Francisca to come over as her revenge. The Still Samurai becomes huge. Even in the 6th game, we get a spin-off in a foreign country. And you just get so invested in these characters. You want to see Maya succeed because you defend her. You see her sister die in front of her. And you want Phoenix to succeed as well. I mean, this just, it does a great job as a first game. But I think...
It's an amazing,
It is an amazing game.
First game.
It's an amazing game. And there wouldn't be any more games if it wasn't for the first game, after all. But at the same time, when you compare it to the next games, some of the next games, it falls short. I mean, that's the issue with having a good first game. It just gets better after that. Not necessarily, but in the case of Ace Attorney, it does get better after that. Not all games are better than the first game, but some games you could never compare Trials and Tribulations to the first game. You can't do that. I know it's a closed match, but you just can't compare the writing. I mean, you Trials and Tribulations is so amazing just because of the first game, because Mia dies in the second case after just a tutorial one. Like, as soon as Frank saw it, gets arrested and is found guilty,
Yeah.
Mia dies, and that's it.
Wow.
She comes back as a
Death.
ghost, as a channeled spirit, but and it's not much. And in Spirit of Justice, it's even less. And then you reach Trials and Tribulations, where she's a playable character, and you're like, okay, this is what I wanted. This is all because of that first game. And a different opinion in Rise of the Ashes. I think Rise from the Ashes is a great case. I think it's too long. I think it had its flaws. Actually, Rise from the Ashes is the last thing I've played from the series.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Isn't that... Wait, I thought you played Investigation 2.
No.
You played Rise from the Ashes after Investigation 2?
Yeah, I played the first game, the second game, the third game, 4th, 5th, 6th, Investigations 1, Investigations 2, and then went back and finished Rise from the Ashes, which I started when... I thought it was just too long. I left it before coming to uni over a year ago, when you have to speak with Jake Marshall on Angel Star, and you discover his security room, and I was like, okay, this is getting just too complicated and you're losing me here, so let me just I want to just move on. Let's just go to Justice for All, because I had Googled it, and it told me that it was only included in the game in the Japanese version, not in the US. And I get why you say it's like a DLC. It is a DLC, and I don't particularly like Emma Skye nor Lana Skye, but I really like that case. I think it's a good case. I think just having two huge cases back to back is exhausting, because
I agree. I think in some of the games there's a problem of pacing in some cases, and that can really exhaust the game.
Turnabout Big Top, for example. I told you I finished Turnabout Big Top yesterday. It's my second playthrough through the series, and I just thank the god of gaming for just adding the skip button for the dialogue on Switch for the trilogy, because you remember I played all the games on iPhone. That's insane.
Yeah, I remember.
I
That's so small. That's such a small screen.
It got frustrated. It got frustrating.
Yeah, I
but
understand.
I was like, I played all the games on iPhone except for Investigations 2. So now playing it on Switch, it's easy being able to skip the dialogue because I've already read it all. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But so my ranking for the game, my score is, I'll give it I think it's a 9 out of 10.
A 9 out of 10.
It's a 9 out
so
of
we
10.
have the same ranking. Okay. Then let's move on to Justice for All.
Justice for All.
Do you want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, so for Justice for All, I think in the main trilogy, just talking about the main trilogy, it's my least favorite one.
Yeah.
However, that does not mean it's a bad game. It's hard because all of the games from the trilogy are so good.
Mm-hmm.
Franziska Van Karma is amazing. Such an interesting prosecutor. I love her story. We're going to talk about that in the next episode, but just her design, the whip, the blue hair, I love her so much. A character that I really, really like, and I think really is important to the story. Pearls arrive. We see the Korean village for the first time. I think that's great. And the last case, oh my god, a last case that is so brilliant and amazing. So even though it has some, I don't know, it lacks a little spice, I would say, for it to be as good as Trials and Tribulation in the first one. I think it's still an amazing game. I think if I had to rate it, I will give it. I think it'll be an 8 for me, probably. I might change it, but for now, I'd say it's an 8. I really love it. Um, Not a huge fan of Maggie Bird. I'm trying to think case by case. I think the first case is really fun and interesting how they dealt with it being a tutorial,
Yeah.
even though we're not a
It's
rookie anymore.
smart.
I like the idea. It's smart, it's clever, it's well written. I'm just Maggie Bird is, I don't know. She's not one of my favorite characters. I think she's a bit
She's
whiny.
annoying.
Um,
Let's just say
she's
it as it is.
she in that case she's not as annoying. I think the case where she just like gets on my nerve is the one where they gumshoes bring her
Yeah.
lunch and she's
Très
like, I don't
bien.
want it. That really annoyed me. Yes, recipe for Turnabout. But in that case, she's all right. I like the unluckiness of it. I think it makes sense. Um, what else? So second case, I think it's an amazing case. Crane Village, almost all women, this kind of matriarchy going on. Pearls, Morgan Fay is going to be a very important villain in the future. You love Inimini, but even just Loda Hart. I love Loda Hart. She's so funny. I love her theme. Her theme is one of my favorite songs from the games. So great. And the Korean Village energy, I really enjoy it. So third case, I think we slightly discussed it last episode. I'm not the biggest fan of Big Top. I think Max Galactica is I think I'm just uncomfortable with the whole Regina Berry thing and everyone creeping on her because she's 16, isn't she?
I think she's 15 or something.
I think
Let me
she's
just
a
Google it real quick.
teenager.
She's
And all of
definitely a
those
minor.
Men. She's a minor. She's a teen. And it always made me uncomfortable. Like, all those men. Like,
16
all
years
those.
old.
Yeah, she's 16. And all of them are lusting over her. It always gave me very weird
Yeah.
vibes. But I guess the storyline is interesting and the whole theme of taking responsibility and being accountable. I think that was interesting. I'm not the biggest fan of Acro either. I mean, I don't hate him. I just couldn't feel sorry for him by the end. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And we discussed it as well. Not a big fan of the murder process.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to believe that the bust. I mean, it was held by two string. Could it have like flipped away and fell? I don't know. It just it's a bit too out there for me. And last case, such an amazing case, Matt Ongard, a twist that left me. I think it's such a brilliant take on the game because the whole thing is that you trust your client. It's all about empathy and
Yeah.
believing in them. And the fact that this plays against Phoenix is brilliant for me. Madangard is so scary when he rips his face. And the first time we discover he's a villain and he removes half of his hair. Brilliant. Brilliant design. Brilliant storytelling. Francisca helping us. Big Gumshoe as well. It's an amazing case. So I think even though there's some elements that I'm not a fan of, this game brought us an amazing last case, Francisca Van Karma, the Megatama, which I think really lacks in the first game. The Megatama was such a good way of investigating without having to cross-examine. I think it's a brilliant tool to help the story advance. And I think that's one of the things that lacked in the first game. Like, replaying it, I was like, ooh, I guess like if they had the Megatama, that would have been really useful in that moment, like when Larry lies about Gordy and stuff like that. So I think Francisca, great last case, loads of interesting character appearing or reappearing, and the Megatama makes it an 8 for me.
Okay.
What about you?
Kind of agree with most stuff, but I disagree on the Magatama.
Oh.
Magatama.
Really? I love it. It's my favorite one, I think.
It's kind of like cheating when you know someone's lying. I mean, you can already raise the dead and ask them what happened. So this is what, you already have a lie detector?
Yeah, but it's so useful and it's such a great way to make the story advance. And you have to write the right proof and to cut them, and sometimes you can't because their secret is just too dark.
Sweetie, I don't really think so. Okay, so here's what I think of
Really?
Justice for All. I think it's a nice sequel. Okay, so here's my story. I'm really active on Tumblr, well, sometimes. And there's this great account, I link it below. It's an Ace Attorney account. It's called Drain Cyanide. And I remember asking her something anonymously. And she was like, she called Justice for All the game that shan't be named or something like that. She wouldn't name it. And then I asked her again why. And she's like, it's not that it's a bad game. It's just Turnabout Big Top and stuff like that. And it's just like, she's kind of not lying. He or she, I don't know if it's
I
a
could
male or
see
female.
why.
But I think as good as the last case is, the game just, I don't know, it lacks something. It's a great game, don't get me wrong. And in comparison to the rest, it's such an amazing game. But the first case, apart from the amnesia stuff, which is a creative and interesting way, and as you said, clever.
And the ringtones.
What?
The ringtones.
Oh,
the
yeah, the
ringtones
ringtones.
are
Okay,
fun
whatever.
as well.
Simmer down. It just, apart from the amnesia, you just like get over that immediately. You're like, oh, that's clever. Okay, you're like, sorry. You're like, ooh, that's clever. Where do we go from here? Oh, a baseball glove that looks like bananas, and Richard Wellington choking himself on his scarf. Okay, sure, Jan. And then you have Turnabout and Reunion, which is a case I initially hated and have now come to love so much. Even before my second playthrough, I think it's a great case. Of course, my favorite, Eeny Meeny, is in it. I love Eeny Meeny. In case you haven't watched our first podcast, go back and watch it, of course, and like it and subscribe. But I should just say that Eeny Meeny is my favorite character of all time, alongside Godot. And that apart from Eeny Meeny, it serves its purpose as an important case. And I love transitioning from Kurain to the hospital, and it gives you that freedom of like traveling, and you just like see the city and the world building, and it's like you can get information from just anyone, even from the pervert director Hottie at the clinic, Dr. Hottie. I love how it just gives you a global feel, but it's not such a special case for me to say, oh, it excuses Justice for All mediocrity. And just it's not mediocre. It's
Wow.
just in
No, but I get what you mean.
when compared to the first game and Trials and Tribulations, it is mediocre. And then
it lacks spice.
Yeah, it does. And then you get to Turnabout Big Top, which you've outlined every issue with that case, I think, very well. And I played it last night. After the second playthrough, even though it goes by faster because you know how it happens, it's not that exciting. Of course, the last case deserves every single praise, it's just amazing, and just reminded me of like comics, like Maya's getting abducted right before our eyes. What are we going to do? And it's it's coming. It's that Gatewater is my favorite location.
That's true.
I love the feel of like, oh, it all happens in this night where it's just like a grand ballroom, and it's decorated, and there's all this food, and Francisca getting hurt, and like it gets higher and higher, and they can't find Maya, and like, as you said, Francisca is an excellent character. Some people say she doesn't have character development. I think that's bullshit. I think she's greatly written. She starts off just wanting revenge and being so hell-bent on seeing Phoenix lose. And then by the end, she not only gets hurt, by Shelley the Killer, she gets she gets emotional at the airport, and then we see her in Trials and Tribulations again in the Investigations game. But I think having a female prosecutor is important representation. And this game is as good as it is, I think, mostly because of that last case. I like it. It's not that I don't like it. It's just in comparison to the other, it falls short.
Yeah.
So I'd like to give it I think it's a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trials and
I just wanted to go
Tribulations.
back on what you said about Francisca.
Okay.
I think some people don't think she has character development because she's kind of still is Francisca at the end, but that's what I love about the character. She grows during the game, but she still doesn't lose what makes her her. Like, she's
Yes.
not going to become the nicest person.
You've mentioned this before.
And she's not going to stop whipping people because that's just who she is, and I love that. I think, especially for female characters, there's not a lot of interesting and compassionate, beachy females. They're usually just villains. Whereas men, I think they're more interestingly written, where they can be moody or can have like a complicated past. So I love that about Francisca. I love that she didn't turn all like sweet and nice and flowers and everything. So that's just what I wanted to say about her. But yes, let's move on to Trials and Tribulation.
Yes.
I'm gonna say it very quickly. It's a 10 for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite game of the whole series. It's so amazing. I don't even know where to start. The story, it's just the overarching story that plays into each cases. The story unfolds throughout the game. It's like a link into every case, and I think that's brilliant. Best prosecutor that we've ever seen is Godot.
Yes.
There is no question about that.
Speak on that.
He's the best. I think I do like the element of having a prosecutor that is kind of against you. It's a good device to help the player be involved because you're like, oh, you want to be this prosecutor who doesn't believe in us.
Yeah.
I think sometimes when the prosecutor will be too nice, it's kind of, it's interesting, but I think it works better when they're super mean to you. Apart from that, Godot is the best prosecutor we've ever had.
Yes.
Amazing backstory, super interesting interaction with the attorney, design, music, theme.
Yes.
This theme, just overall, Godot is the best. What can I say? What can I do? That's just it. It has two of my favorite cases ever, Bridge to Turnabout and Recipe to Turnabout. Those my two favorite cases. Bridge to Turnabout is just so good, so amazing. All of the characters are incredible. The return of Francisca, the return of Edgeworth, Maya's mom, Godot. Oh my god, and the finale of finding out that Godot is the culprit. Oh my god. I remember exactly where I was when I found that out. It was just like you search through the faces of all the people from that case and like, who can it be? Who can it be? I think the question is, she was able to tell who it was in the dark. It was like, who could be recognizable in the dark? And then it clicks.
Yes.
And you're like, oh my god. And the end when he cries and he's like, those must be my tears. Oh my god, I can't see red. And I think that's just so brilliant. The game is amazing. For me, I do think if that had been the last we saw Phoenix, I would have been satisfied because it's the end of his story. It's like he's finally a real attorney. He's finally like, he's done the impossible. I love Phoenix in this game. I think it's just brilliant. Yeah, and playing Mia.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And Edgeworth.
And Edgeworth. And also, just, can we talk about Dahlia Hawthorne? I think we can. She's amazing. She's the baddest bitch in this game. She is she's terrifying. She's kind of stone cold, and I love her. She's a great villain, and she's in 3 cases of the game. Amazing. Just amazing.
Yeah.
A sociopath. Okay. I could go on and on and on, but the bottom line is it's a 10 for me. It's my favorite game. Your turn.
Okay, so here's my opinion on Trials and Tribulations. After the last podcast, I felt like I was kind of sucking on Investigations 2 dick too much. I'm honestly so undecided on if this or Investigations 2 is my favorite game. I cannot decide. I think I should re-rate the games.
Because I knew your past ranking, but so I don't know your new ranking.
Yeah. And I really want to re-rate the cases. But Trials and Tribulations is amazing nonetheless. I love this game. You pushed me to play it. So
I did.
Yeah. The only flaw Godot is my video game husband, my video game crush. His leitmotif, his theme just takes me to another dimension. I'm seduced, bamboozled, in love, and I love him. I think he's alongside Inimini, they're my favorite characters. You play as Mia, you play as Edgeworth, as you said. Recipe for Turnabout, the 2 Mia cases, and then Bridge to Turnabout, which is just 10 out of 10. That case is 10 out of 10. My only issue with Trials and Tribulations is the stolen Turnabout. Unconventional and controversial opinion. I hate that case. And people on Tumblr, if you're coming from Tumblr, from my Tumblr account, you know this. You know how much I hate Ron Delight. You know how much I'm used to the controversy and just sticking to what I say. So let me just go ahead and say it. I hate that case. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I don't want to play it ever again. It's I don't know. I just had the worst time playing it. You don't see the murder. It's just look at me being a jerk. His office.
Zvari.
Yes, Zvari. You can stick Zvari in your ass. Look at me. Your office looks like something out of Super Mario. Like as if it looks like that bad Zelda game from the 80s or 90s where it was animated like cartoon and everyone makes fun of it on YouTube. The one where it was like they gave him a voice.
Yeah, it's like, sorry, princess, something
yes,
like that.
That one.
Link is a huge creep.
Yes, that's where Look At Me's office is from. That's a game where that background art belongs in. Ron Delight is, I think, the most hated character by me, not by anyone else. And that's what we talked about last time, how much I hate Ron Delight. Desiree Delight is just being completely disrespected by him. Larry is not memorable in that case, which is, I think it's like a throwaway role. Since he appears in the last case as well, I think they wasted a good opportunity to introduce a new character. I think having him work alongside Wendy Olbach, which doesn't even show up, I think that's just like, it was kind of like really annoying not to see anything. But still, this is just nitpicking, because Trials and Tribulations is an amazing game, and Breach to Turnabout is my favorite case. It is my favorite case. So I think I'm going to give this game a 9.5.
A 9.5?
Yes, because of the stolen Turnabout.
Because of the stolen. Oh wow! I didn't know you hated it that much.
I hate it.
Okay,
I hate it
but
that much.
I understand.
I might
I
like
understand.
Turnabout Big Top more.
Really?
Yes. I'm going to
That's
reiterate
very interesting.
the cases
I'm
on that
learning so much
document.
about you.
The
Yes, you should.
the document we mentioned last podcast where I rate everything. I think I'm gonna review that after we stop recording this episode.
Okay, perfect. I'm sorry, I have so much noise on my computer.
Okay,
My phone was dying.
of course.
Let's move on to the second. Do you want to do investigation or the second trilogy?
No, let's do second trilogy and then investigations games.
Okay, please go first for Apollo Justice because I'm still not sure what to say about it. Please go first.
Apollo Justice is a nice 6 or 5.5 for me. I think it does what it's supposed to do. I think it's a good game. On its own, it's a good game. I know for players who grew up with the game, such as Lucie over here,
Yes.
it was sacrilege seeing homeless Phoenix with
Hobo
with the
Phoenix.
papa hat. And just him losing the badge, it was just straight up disrespectful. And it's just, but me not having this emotional attachment, I actually had a pretty good time. I think the first case as a tutorial, it takes too long. I don't really like it. And neither do I like the last case. This is my least favorite last case from the entire series. I think jumping from past to future and from past to present, is confusing. I think it just, and having Christoph Gavin be the culprit is kind of like predictable because he's on the case preview art as well. But other than that, and of course, let me touch really briefly on Apollo. I think he's a boring character. I think he's a direct ripoff of Phoenix, but even more tame. He doesn't have anxiety. I think he tackles stuff head on with his cores of steel. I think that's a bunch of crap. I think Trucy she's just okay. She's not anything special for me. So, and the prosecutor, Clavier Gavin, it's insane that he's a rock star. And I like him. He's cool. He's a cool dude, but that's all he is. I mean, the characters lack depth in this game. That's what I'm trying to say. I think they're shallow in terms of writing, not in terms of personality. And despite all this, I just want to say that I know how much people hate it, but Turnabout Serenade is one of my favorite cases. I don't care about that stupid fucking video of La Mirua singing. I think having secret passageways under a stage is incredibly Scooby-Doo, which is one of my favorite properties. Let me just give this disclaimer right now, and Lucie can vouch for this.
Yes.
The man,
I vouch for this.
The man loves his Scooby-Doo. And
the man loves his Scooby-Doo.
And it's just Turnabout Serenade is Scooby-Doo. It is. It just is.
When I first met you, your story on your Instagram was just ranting about Scooby-Doo.
Yep.
It was like...
The Scooby-Doo analysis.
Aris doesn't look scary in real life, but you kind of look intimidating. He had like Doc Marten and he's very tall and he's like quite buff. And I was like, who is this scary man? And then
and the leather jacket.
On your Instagram. Yes, and your piercings. And I was like, who is this scary man obsessed with Scooby-Doo?
A thug.
A thug.
A thug living in your flat who loves Scooby-Doo.
Yes.
But yeah, that's all I have to say. I don't have anything to say about Turnabout Corner. I think it's just filler. It's fun nonetheless. Okay, your turn.
I'm still not quite sure about the rating because it's quite a hard case to rate.
Yeah.
I think I'll give it a 5.5.
A 5?
A 5.5.
A 5.5, okay.
Because it's between 6 and 5 for me. This is what I think of the game. I think I understand how it was made, And I think it was quite a bold choice to completely have a new attorney, and I respect it. I think it's a good choice writing-wise, but I don't like what they did with Phoenix. I would have rather him not be in any of the
Yes,
games than
I
have
agree with
him
that.
ruined like that. And it was just so disappointing. And for instance, we don't see Dean Gumshoes ever again. I'm sad about it, but I'm not devastated
We do
because,
see him.
well, we see him in Investigation
Yeah.
1 and 2, but we don't see him in the second
Oh,
trilogy.
you mean
That's
the
what I meant.
7-year gap?
Yes, after the 7. But like, what if we saw Dick Gumshoes living in the streets selling, like, I don't know,
No.
selling phone chargers?
Don't
Like,
ruin
I
it.
would have. I know, like, what if. And I
Chargers.
don't. I don't know. I was trying to think of something. But I think that idea of Phoenix Wright was like, it was blasphemy for me.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I don't like it. I'm sorry because I can tell that a lot of people do like it, and I wish I could enjoy it that way. But it hurts my feeling to see Phoenix like that. I don't hate Apollo. I think he could be more interesting. I think he's just a little boring.
Mm-hmm.
I quite like Trucy. I just wish she had a more interesting dynamic with Phoenix. I think it's a bit vanilla.
Let's be
I think
real.
you've
She's
I
not
think it's a
her.
bit
She's not his daughter. Even adopted.
yeah.
She's not his daughter.
I think it could have been and we've seen them do a great children and parent relationship in Investigation 2.
Yes.
I
Yes.
believe that Courtney and John March she's his mom, whatever
Yes.
happens.
Thank you for
And
this
I wish
so
we'd
much.
seen that. I wish we'd seen that in Apollo Justice. I'm not a big fan of both of the Gavins.
Yeah.
I think you put it quite well. I think the character are a little bit boring. I don't even think of any memorable new character that I'm like, oh, I'm obsessed with this
Yeah.
character.
Um,
It's not a bad game. It's just it lacks significancy in the way the characters are written.
yeah. I think it would be a good game if it was written as a standalone game. Like,
I
not in
agree.
relation to Ace Attorney.
Maybe in even like part of the world, like if
Yes.
it could have just been outside of the Ace Attorney world that we know.
Yeah.
And the Gavins, I don't like. Clavier is okay. He's just not a very interesting prosecutor.
Yeah.
There's no challenge. And I completely agree with you. I think having Christoph as the final villain was a bit disappointing because we've already exposed. I mean, yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
So
Can I just say that I was between
yes,
5
please
and
do.
6. I think I'm going to give it a 6 just because the animation is just amazing.
Yes,
This is a
you love
game
it.
with the best animation in the entire series. Hands down, the sprites have depth. The shading is amazing. Even fucking Winston Payne being bald is just, it looks so good. I
Yeah.
couldn't stop looking at the screen, even the iPhone screen. I was like, wow. They just, good job on the design department, just excellent job. And
Yeah,
the
I get what
soundtrack
you
isn't
mean.
bad as well. I think stylistic choices were good.
But I
Yeah.
think the color pattern is a bit weird for this game. I feel it's
Yeah,
like
remember what I told you when I first started playing it?
no, what did you say?
I came into your room, didn't even knock, of course, and I was like, this game is the most 2000s thing have ever seen. Is like a sepia brown
Yes.
and Bordeaux.
Everything is brown and
It's
maroon.
just, it's ugly.
Even the courtroom is like a weird color.
Yes.
I'm not a big fan of that.
It's I think it's just the era. Like, I was watching Mario Kart Wii or playthroughs on YouTube, like Luigi running without his cart, and it just remembered me of that era and how the Wii. I know this game wasn't on Wii, but that era of the late 2000s or like mid 2000s, they muted all the color palette, like, of all the games. Even Twilight Princess, Zelda Twilight Princess, I think it's the one with the wolf on Wii.
Yeah, it is.
And Mario Kart Wii, they just have this weird like it's as if you washed over the color with a water bucket. It's weird. Okay. Dual Destinies. Can I go first?
Of course, go first.
Because you know what I'm going to say.
I know what I know what's going to unfold for this game.
Dual Destinies is a 3 out of 10, and this is why we're not advertising our podcast on Reddit, because I don't want people with pitchforks showing up at my doorstep and stabbing me for saying that. On Tumblr, the people on Tumblr know I say whatever the fuck I want. And will die defending what I say. But I hate Dual Destinies. No, look, I don't hate it. I take that back. But I really don't like it. I really don't like this game. The transition from 2D to 3D is ugly as fuck. I think Phoenix has never looked this bad ever. I think the vest is ugly. I think this is why I hate Apollo Justice and rather Capcom. It's a good game, but Capcom couldn't handle the backlash, and they pussied out of it. They gave Phoenix back his badge. It's never explained. They shoehorn in Athena. They try handling too many things, making it like the first trilogy, and then...
Wait. Doesn't Phoenix get his badge back at the end of Apollo Justice, though?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I think it does.
But even so, I think just having him go from homeless Phoenix to back to like not even Trilogy Phoenix. Trilogy Phoenix was a trembling little rookie, even in Trials and Tribulations. And now he's like this confident man. And like, even though there's this change, it's never explained. Like, was this Iris's effect? Iris is never seen again or mentioned, so God knows what happened to her. And Black Quill is... I don't know how to put it. I don't know how to say how I feel about Black Quill. I think he's just like kind of like better than Clavier, but at the same time, I don't really care for him. I don't really care about his hawk. The locations are ugly. And for me, the worst sin the fucking game commits is not letting us investigate every location. It doesn't allow you to investigate where you're not supposed to investigate. That's the whole point of the trilogy. Having Maya tell Phoenix about the stepladder and having it be a whole inside joke in the rest of the series, and then you can't even investigate anything. There's no dialogue. There's no extra dialogue. There's no that sense of I'm an attorney and I'm investigating. That's completely stripped. There's some characters I like. I really like Aura Blackquill. And Athena, I wrote an essay on her mistreatment. I'll put the link below. I think it's a good essay. It captures what I feel about it, so I won't go on about it during the podcast. But let's leave another episode for that. But they just mishandle everything. And the cases are just. I'm mad at Dual Destinies. I'm really mad. Okay, your turn.
I'm still in shock that you gave it a 3.
It is a 3 out of 10.
For me, it's either a 6 or a 7.
No.
I really like this game. I think... So, I actually think they handled Phoenix right in this one. Like, if you're gonna put it, be it coherent to the character we've grown up with. I mean,
how is it coherent?
See, it's like he's 10 years older. He has a daughter.
How is it coherent? How is it coherent if in the previous game he was homeless piano player?
I think it's not about his profession. It's about his wisdom. And you can tell, even as a homeless man, he was hiding something within.
That's
and
crap.
The something he was hiding came out in Dual Destiny. Also, the vest looks amazing.
No, it
and
doesn't.
I love the little hair sticking out. Oh my god. Phoenix, ooh, I'm blushing. Phoenix is too hard to handle.
I hate you.
I'm not. I think what I don't like about this game, I love Athena. I do think she was misused in this game, underused.
Yeah.
Her backstory, kind of weird. Also ties in weirdly with Apollo's backstory, but this is a whole other segment. Um, I think the cases aren't memorable. Like 2, 3, 4 aren't like, oh wow, but they're enjoyable. They're fun cases. I love seeing Phoenix back. One of my favorite. I love Turnabout Reclaimed. I think it's an amazing case.
Which
in
one?
In a DLC, Turnabout Reclaimed, of course.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's such a feel-good case. I love it. One of the best games from the second trilogy. I love Bobby Fulbright. Bobby Fulbright is a delight.
Oh, yeah. I forgot
love
to mention him.
And the twist at the end is so interesting, and I think it's really well done. I was so shocked because you get I loved seeing him as a detective. I was really looking forward to him being the new detective of the games of the series.
FYI,
and then bam, you get attached to him.
Sorry,
yes.
but GameStop gave Dual Destinies a 5 out of 5.
Did they? Good taste.
No.
Good taste.
No.
I think I'm gonna give it a 7. I think I'm gonna give it a 7 because I love it. I think it's a great return. And they fixed some. I do think it's not the characters. To be honest, the new characters are slightly boring.
Of course they are. Juniper Woods.
Isn't.
Who the fuck cares about Juniper Woods? The only memorable...
I did like everyone from the last case. Every single astronaut was interesting.
No. The only memorable character from the game is Aristotle Means. That man is amazing.
Also,
he's not a good villain or anything, but his design as a Greek ancient statue and even having his skin be gray. I mean, come on. Fucking work, Aristotle Means. Honey, strut down the runway and feel proud of yourself.
I think, Aura Blackwell is a great character.
Yes.
Also, is it kind of implied she was in a lesbian relationship with Athena's
Thank you
mom?
for mentioning that. Yes. I forgot to mention that.
I think that's amazing. Really, really good.
With Meta Sykes.
With the owner of the spaceship thing. He was really funny. I liked him.
I wish he died. Him.
Oh.
Okay.
And just everyone from Turnabout Reclaim was an amazing. Norma de Plume.
Yeah.
Sasha.
Okay, I'll give you that. Yeah.
They were so good. They were really interesting. So much better character from Apollo Justice, and it's a 7 out of 10 for me. I really like this game.
Can I just say that playing Dual Destinies on iPhone felt right. It felt like it should be an app. It's that bad.
Oh my god.
And I'm not even saying it being mean-spirited or anything, but it does feel like an application. You should be ashamed of yourself. Because of the animation.
You should be ashamed. You did not tell me what to do. Sorry, I kicked it by mistake.
You can't kick it by mistake, Pooja.
Dual Destiny.
Okay, you have to admit the animation is bad. That's why it feels like an application. That's why I'm saying it.
I do not like the 3D.
Okay, good.
However, the anime cutscene.
Yes. Oh,
amazing, wow. Amazing.
Thank you for mentioning. Oh, maybe I'll give it a 3.5.
Ha! Thank you. I'll take that.
Maybe I'll give it a 3.5 because the animation is outstanding. It's better than the sprites in Apollo Justice, but that's different because the sprites. When I was mentioning art for Apollo Justice, I meant the sprites and the background art. It didn't have cutscenes, but the cuts in here, Lord,
brilliant!
I mean,
so good.
Seeing Athena, with bunny ears and being splattered in blood. That was I remember that cutscene scene by scene.
It was amazing. I wish there were so many in Dual Destiny, and I loved that.
Yeah.
And in Spirit of Justice, there were way less. I was kind of disappointed.
Yes. So with that, let's segue into
move on.
Spirit of Justice.
Spirit of Justice.
You go first.
I don't even know what to say. I played it twice. I played it first when it came out, and then this summer. I had really good
How
memories
could
of
you
it
play that again? What?
because I was playing it with my brother.
Oh, okay.
I played it with my brother, and it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
I
I
had
remember you
really
telling
good
me about,
memories.
yeah, Turnabout Storyteller.
Oh my god! And then everything faded away. It's just out of the two, it's probably my least favorite game. Out of the two trilogies, I'll give it maybe a 4. It's not my like definite
Ooh.
answer. I think it's a 4 for me. I'm very sorry. I'm not a huge fan of Brain. I think it's a bit of. I hate Apollo's backstory.
Ooh,
I hate
yeah.
when they do this
Let me rip into
of
that
like
when it's my
introduce
turn.
like I I hate when they introduce a new facet of a character re like after we've already seen him. Like it felt like lazy writing. Like, oh,
Yeah.
by the way, Apollo was there and there and there because Apollo's backstory has been a pretty important part
Ooh.
of Apollo Justice, a lot,
Yeah.
and a tiny part of Dual Destinies because he was friends. It was a childhood friend, but
No,
with
it doesn't
Spirit of
make sense.
Justice,
It literally
it
doesn't make
didn't make
sense.
sense. It was horrible. Um, I did like the third case. I thought the suicide part was very inventive. I do like Rayfi a lot, and I
No.
think I like her a lot. And I would say this: I think Rayfi and Phoenix has the more believable daughter and father relationship than he has with Strucy. I think if they had more interesting dynamics of Rayfi being rebellious and not liking Phoenix, I think it could have been so much more interesting in Phoenix and Strucy had this kind of relationship. I believe that Rayfi, if someone told me Rayfi is Phoenix's biological daughter, I would have been like, okay, why not? But Ruthie, I found that I don't know, the relationship is too slick and like smoothless.
You're
I just
crazy
thank
for
you.
saying that
I
shit on
appreciate
Rayfa.
that.
Don't
I like
disrespect the
Rayfa.
characters
I
like
like
that.
Rayfa. She's interesting. She's fun. I hate Nayuta.
Ooh.
I don't like him.
Yikes.
I don't like him at all. He makes my blood boils. He has this condescending attitude throughout the game, and even with the ending where everything is revolved, it's just he's so frustrating.
It's
I do like his design. He's just this like arrogance from him, and we're supposed to just be sympathetic with him because he's being held hostage.
no, no,
I
no,
don't
no, no,
believe
no.
that. That didn't give him a reason to act like such an asshole to us. He's very condescending. I don't like him. He's too vanilla for me. However, the moment it was like a dragon never heals was a very satisfactory moment of the game. Durkee is a great character. Hands down, Durkee is probably the best addition to this
How do
game.
you pronounce his name? I never caught on to that.
Durkee.
Is it
Durkee?
Durke or Dork or
For me,
Dirk?
it's
I
Durkee.
think in the animated cutscenes, it's called Dirk when
Dirk.
That's a Rebel enters
That's a Rebel is a
the
great character
office.
as well.
Yes.
That's a Rebel. I don't like the DLC. I did enjoy it.
No.
I hate
Turnabout
Storyteller,
Storyteller.
Turnabout Storyteller. I hate it. I'm not a big fan of Magical Turnabout. We've discussed it last episode. And
Stop.
first case was alright. For me it's a 4, and I'm sorry. I wanted it to love it, but there's too many crux.
It's okay. Spirit of Justice sucks. Let's be real. It even has one of my favorite cases in it. Magic. Okay, here are the good things because I don't have a lot of positive things to say. The animation has improved, but it's still pretty ugly.
I do agree
I
with the
hate,
animation.
hate your hair and makeup today. I hate how
I thought you were
Nicki
talking
Minaj
to
reference.
me.
Nicki Minaj reference from Drag Race. I hate how But even in the end, just having the people of Kurain just say, just like the like the people in the gallery at the court say, boo, oh, we hate attorneys in this country. Okay, bitch, we get it. We've like mentioned it at least 1,000 times, and how you hate attorneys in fucking Kurain. I'm relaxing in my bed, in my boxers, playing this game, and I the last thing I want to get is just negative comments from the gallery. I get you hate attorneys, but you don't have to say it every time we make an objection, like, ooh, this Phoenix Wright is a sham and every attorney should die. Fuck off.
I feel like you took those personally. Did that remind you of middle school or something?
Of course I did. What else happened? I think transitioning to Kurain was a mistake. I really don't like Kurain. I don't... The names in the original trilogy were just so memorable, like D. Vasquez being Diva or Salmonella being Salmonella, and Lisa Basil, even if it doesn't mean something, it's spelled backwards, it's the same. But here you have like the whole apostrophe thing just to show it's a foreign country, which it's not. We're not going back in time. It's like even countries which are similar to what you're showing, like the East Asian culture, like even Mongolia, which is like very similar to what they show. The names are in like the technology and the names are in like from 800 BC, and I don't know. And then you go back. Nayuta finds himself back in the States or Japan, depends on which localization you're playing. But why? Why have him be a traveling prosecutor? Who the fuck cares about Nayuta? And trying to understand Apollo's whole backstory. Like, he grew up as a magician's child and from Krupp Grammary. And then what happened? They went on holiday, I guess, to Kurain, and then what happened? How did he grow up near?
I think I can explain it. Basically, his mom left his dad, and so he grew up just with his dad as a baby.
What about Trucy?
The Trucy wasn't born yet.
Okay.
So it was like when Apollo is a baby, his dad takes him to Kurain. His dad dies. He's left with Durkee. He grew up with Durkee. When he's 9, he gets abandoned again by Durkee for some reason. Goes back to the States or Japan.
How?
Is like friend with... No, I have no idea. Grew up in an orphanage, I guess.
How did he go to school if he was at the fucking orphanage and meet Clay Terran and go there after school?
I think Clay Terran was another person for the orphanage? I don't know. It's very confusing.
And if at the orphanage, like, if he was at an orphanage, who adopted him and how did he get how did he pass the bar exam and study law?
No
idea. Who paid
idea.
for this?
No idea.
Okay, so it doesn't make sense. You agree, okay?
It doesn't make sense. No, I totally agree.
Yeah, and then we have Turnabout Storyteller, which is horrible. I agree. I don't hate it as much as you. I think the food which is represented is delicious, of course. But I don't like it at all. I think giving Athena that case is just like even more disrespectful and just limiting her down to an assistant. I mean, come on. She's a fucking lawyer. Show that.
We don't even get to investigate with Athena, which is disappointing.
No, and we do in Magical Turnabout, but you hate that.
But she's an assistant.
She is an assistant.
She isn't like the main person.
True. I think, why did you introduce her in the first place if that's your plans for Athena? The final case, I will admit, took it got me by surprise. I think the Maya channeling...
The reveal that Durkee's dead? Amazing.
That was amazing.
And we still haven't talked about Maya being here in this game.
Oh, yeah. She's that forgettable in the game. I know what they were going for, but this just wasn't it. It wasn't it. And Nayuta is a jerk, and Garen as the last boss is... I don't know why. She's the queen, so I guess she's a lawyer as well. whatever. Let's just do whatever we want. Sure, let's have that priest go into Maya's body, and doesn't have to make sense anymore.
Garand's transformation.
Yeah.
When she turns into... It was so funny being like, oh, I wonder who's the bad guy of this game is. And she just comes with her hair like spiderweb,
As
wearing
an
a dominatrix
octopus.
purple
my God.
thing. Like, it wasn't... Finding out that Durkee was dead was mind-blowing and really well done. Finding out that Garen was behind everything wasn't surprising.
You know what I hate? Pitting Apollo against Phoenix. Ooh, that just made me so mad. And thinking that for Paul Attishan to be found guilty, it means Phoenix lost the case and Apollo won. Even if it's on purpose, Phoenix has never lost a case. That's just...
Not on guard?
I mean, no, that's not what happened. Babe, he admitted because if Phoenix won, he would be free and Shelly the Killer would kill him for betraying him by recording him through the bear.
Yeah.
So it's an inconsistent game. I think bringing Maya back in, they do Maya dirty by bringing her back in this fucking shit show. It's a mess. But I still like it more than Dual Destinies.
Blasphemy.
It's better than Dual Destinies. It has a magical
It's
turnabout.
so much worse.
No, it's not. It's not. I think this game is a 4.5.
Okay. So far, can we just give our ranking or rating?
So we're running a bit over. We're recording for 1 hour and 7 minutes, but I think we should power through the 2 investigations games.
Yes. Go first.
Sorry if this is running a bit longer, guys. But this is an important episode. And anyway, we're not obligated to finish at 1 hour. It's just...
True.
It's discussion.
We are... Yeah, that's true. Why are we so fixated on that?
Because you're always like, look at the time.
Because last time... Okay, we'll discuss this later.
Okay.
Because last time I had something to do afterwards, but I'm totally free.
Okay, we can discuss it at ease. So...
Let's go to Ace Attorney investigation.
Yes. I feel bad for calling Justice for All mediocre. Because Investigations 1 is by definition... mediocre. That's it. It's mediocrity at its finest. I quite like the game. I like the transition. The pixelated characters I didn't mind that much, which I haven't seen so much feedback online, like how players thought about transitioning into having a pixelated character run around. But I like playing as Edgeworth. I like having Gumshoe be our Maya. Kay Faraday is one of my favorite characters. Surprisingly, I've never mentioned this, but I really like her. She's really nice.
She's great.
Yes. I like how she's a Yatagarasu. I think it's an amazing arc. And the cases are not anything memorable, but they're not bad. You have amazing locations such as an embassy and a plane and even the courthouse. We've never had that, a murder at the courthouse. And I think the characters are good as well. This is where I hate some of the characters, like everyone from Turnabout, the Kidnap Turnabout. Like that whole family thing. I hated that. But I think Shi-Long Lang is a good Godot knockoff. I think Tyrell Bad is such a film noir investigator / gumshoe mentor. I've mentioned this before. Callisto Yu / Sheena is in my top 5 characters of all time. I think I'm in love with Callisto Yu. I want to marry Callisto Yu and steal Callisto Yu's earrings, which are the scales, of course. She's a female attorney. We've never had that before, except for Mia. And yeah, that's pretty
And
much it.
Jill
It's
Carney.
mediocre. It's mediocre. It's nothing special, but nothing bad. There's characters which return. We have unique locations such as an amusement park. We've never had that before. But it falls flat because I think it's not ambitious enough. I don't know. The story's a bit confusing as well. How the Yatakarasu was just 3 people at once, and the whole embassy storyline, I couldn't really follow that. But yeah, I want to give, I don't know, Apollo Justice and Investigations 1 is the same for me. So I'd like to give it I don't know, like a 6 or a 6.5. I know my scores up to now are 0.5s, but that's just how my brain works. Maybe I should round them off.
I think it's okay. I think it expresses what you mean.
That's all you have to say.
I don't think you should write them off. But yeah, I do agree with a lot of what you say. I think for me it's a 6. For me it's a 6. It's better than Apollo Justice.
Okay.
But slightly better.
Slightly
Not
better.
that much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I gave a 5.5 to Apollo Justice, and I think Ace Attorney Investigation 1 is a 6.
You forgot that game
because
real quick.
I forgot that game. I played it, and as soon as I finished it, every memory of it came off my
Let
brain.
me give context to our viewers. Okay, so to our listeners. Okay, so when we were reunited, Lucy would come over every Thursday, and I'd cook horrible food, and because I don't know how to cook, for fucking God's sake. And then how to spend our time was either discuss Ace Attorney, which is how we came to the conclusion of making a podcast. I mean, I think Lucy had the idea before, but anyway. And also completing Ace Attorney quizzes. And when Investigation 1 questions came along, Lucy would suddenly catch amnesia. Like, she'd remember evidence from the trilogy, like, oh, what was the final piece of evidence from Tribulations? Or how many how many heart-shaped buttons did April May have on her coat? And she'd answer those in a fucking flash, sweetie. But when then Investigation 1 questions came on, and they were like, what was that character's name? And Lucy would just immediately even forget Edgeworth is the protagonist or something.
That is scarily accurate. I can tell you what Dahlia Hawthorne used as a fake name.
Yes.
In the third case.
What was
Trials and Tribulations. It was Melissa.
Melissa what?
Oh, I don't remember, but it was Melissa. That was her first name. But it didn't leave that big of an impression on me. I don't remember much from Ace Attorney Investigation 1. It was a nice game. I enjoyed playing it.
It's Melissa Foster, by the way.
I knew it was Melissa.
Melissa Foster.
But I love the dynamic Edgeworth, Gumshoe, Kai.
Yes.
Works super well. A very good trio, which we don't have a lot in the game. It's usually duos. I love that. The location were super interesting. The music was fun. It's just the characters are a bit lackluster to me. The case aren't memorable.
Yes.
The whole embassy thing. It's a good game. It's a
I don't
fun
mind
game.
the embassy thing.
Nothing. That was a bit confusing.
I know what takes both investigation games down for you is the lack of trials.
Yes, I was very disturbed by the lack of trials, and I've said that before. I think the way the game is set up is a bit too didactic. I don't like...
Yeah.
In the usual Ace Attorney, you get to really explore. You can go wherever you want, but with Ace Attorney Investigation, it's like, here is this place. You have this time to explore it. Now, let's move on to this place. And I hated that. I felt frustrated. I wanted to really explore. I wanted to see different location, and I wanted to go back and to go... And I was just... The lack of trials for me and the lack of exploration element really takes down both of games for me.
Yes.
It frustrated me.
But I think it's worth mentioning that logic, the logic mechanic, and it was so irritating at times because the things you had to connect for Edgeworth to
True.
get something so simple wouldn't work.
But that's
And
kind of like all of the Ace Attorney
yeah,
games.
like
you
press
know?
this line 3
Yes.
times and then present the evidence, but also have Maya help you out.
Yeah. No,
but,
I completely agree. I do like Logic, I think, and Logic Chess. I like those two. I think they're good
Logic
additions.
is okay. Logic Chess is better, but the rebutals are definitely don't make up for the trials, the absence of trials. Like rebuting with Shi-Long Lang, you're like, why do I care? Can't I just step away?
Can I just leave? You know?
Yeah, I'm not in court.
It's frustrating, and it's always. I always felt like when I was playing it that I was missing something, and by the end, like especially when I play Ace Attorney 2, I was like, something is missing, and then I was like, oh, it's the trials. I feel like the game is incomplete because of the trials. So I didn't like that.
I love how
Let's move on.
I love how Shi-Long Lang in both games just pops up and he's like, I'm going to arrest you because I don't believe in the justice system. And you're like,
kind of like a bit thick.
He has anger management issues, that's for sure.
Yes.
But
he is the type of guy who punches a wall.
I think he's closeted.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Interesting take.
Is that an Andy from The Office reference? Punching the wall?
Yes. I mean, not just Andy, but like, I think it's just kind of dudes who drink Monster energy.
Oof,
and who's like, when they get into a fight with their stepmom, he's like, I hate you, Penelope. And he like punches the wall and makes holes in it.
He's like,
that's the vibe I'm getting.
I'll tell you what kind of guy he is. He's like, I don't know if he's closeted or not. Lucy's looking at me like, now let's move on to investigations too. But
no, please tell me. I'm intrigued now.
Shi-Long Lang is like the guy who drives a Toyota Corolla, has so many Red Bulls and Gatorade bottles and cans inside, wears Under Armour shorts the whole time and doesn't wear underwear underneath and scratches his balls and then smells the fingers. That's Shi-Long Lang.
I completely agree.
Yeah, he doesn't take showers that much often either.
Yeah, it's just a disgusting
I kind of like him though. I think he's just
I do like him.
I think he's not Bob Godot.
Roasted him. I do like him. I think I do like his character. He gives me very...
He doesn't give anything.
Dude on Tinder who has 2 pictures and he's just wearing sunglasses in all of them.
Yes, and thinks he's hot shit because of the faux fur coat he has.
And his bio would be, I don't text first, please hit me up. Or something like that.
Yes. I'm happy we just psychoanalyzed Shi-Long Lang. That's for sure.
That was needed for this podcast.
And with
that should be another episode of what would each character.
Let's characterize every character.
Yes.
I think people will hate us by the end.
Let's move on to Ace Attorney 2, and I'll leave you the floor because I'm sure you have loads to say.
This game is a 9.5. It has made me fall in love with it. It is a marvel of a game. I think it moves slow. It takes its time. And I'll start off by saying the negatives because there aren't that many in my opinion. The characters aren't its strong point. The character designs aren't interesting either. I don't like Blaise Debeste. I don't like his son. I completely hate the nurse and her mom from The Forgotten Turnabout.
Oh, yeah.
They're forgettable. Then I know you like him, but Jailbird is... I mean, he's nice. I like his polar bear, but he doesn't have anything interesting in his design.
The polar
And what
bear
else?
is cute.
Here's what
John Marsh. You hate John Marsh.
Yeah, I don't like John Marsh. I mean, I don't hate him, but I don't like him. I think he's stuck up. I don't mind him that much. The other major issue I have with Investigations too, though, is them not explaining the murders. And I've told you this multiple times before.
Yeah.
By the end of the Imprisoned Turnabout, I could not for the love of God tell how Horace Knightley ended up dead. I can't. He fell down a well at some point, and then something happened with the crocodile where where Patricia Rowland had hidden the murder weapon. But how does the escape route fit in, and how does Doggin's dog pull the corpse back into the animal room? Or I don't know. I'm just like, whatever. Other than that, wow. I can't praise this game highly enough. It's Trials and Tribulations. It's the same level for me. What I just outlined as issues is the equivalent of the Stolen Turnabout. It's an entire case worth of negatives. But you have cases which you fall in love with. You have the cherry blossom covered courtyard in Gourd Lake, and you have a jail we've never been into before, and it extends into the interrogation room, which we've known since the beginning. You have a mansion, which is a museum, and it's Christmas, and the flashbacks, and Edgeworth's dad is like Gregory Peck, and he's like this 60s and 50s perfect dad, and he's thinking about his son, and you can't help but fall in love with him. And then Kay, bitch has me saying Kai. Kay loses her memory, and she's falling off the tallest. That's what the cutscene shows. Kay falling off the tallest building, and you're like, no, please don't kill her off. Don't kill her off, because I know that after the 7-year gap, we'd never hear of her ever again, either her or Gumshoe. So please don't kill them off, and then the final case, the Grand Turnabout, is just Simon Keyes, and it's like we talked about this last time, but what an amazing character and what an amazing reveal, and you never see it coming. I was blown away, and then and then you have a whole I think Investigations 1 is definitely not Edgeworth's game. It's just a game where it's just investigations. But Investigations 2 is pretty much Edgeworth's game. He struggles over what it means to be a prosecutor, which is something, a story arc we've had from the first trilogy. He doesn't know what that means. He was raised by Manfred von Karma and trained to be this ruthless prosecutor, but at the same time, he has the tendencies of an attorney like his dad, and he blames Phoenix so much because he's the moral opposite, even though they're the same. And it's just wow. And of course, the fan service, which is done so much, but at the same time handled so well. You have Petty Nichols, Lotta Hart, Shelley the Killer, Gourd Lake, Will Powers, Kay, Gumshoe, Francisca, and I don't remember who else. Oh, Frank Sowett, and Manfred von Karma, and
Regina Berry.
Regina Berry, and Desiree and Ron Delight, and all those items from the Forgotten Turnabout, which are like collectibles from the past. It's like Lucy made a room and put everything of the memorabilia in because she's an aceattorney aficionado. It's like a fan's room, and it's just, I'm in love with this game. I don't know if it matches Trials and Tribulations. It's the same for me. It's the same, but I don't know which one I should put first, because Trials and Tribulations, despite the Stolen Turnabout, has a special case in my heart because of Godot and Bridge to Turnabout, which is my favorite case. So it might be the superior game, but for me, they're the same. They're absolutely the same. And I think, I don't mean it in any negative way. I know I've been talking for too long. I'll give you the floor.
No problem.
I'm sucking Investigations 2 off really well here. But having you not play it, I don't mean it in any negative way, but having not you play it first, I think had a definite impact. Because for the previous games, you gave me your opinion, not that it shaped mine in any way. I find positive things in Turnabout Storyteller, whereas you don't. But at the same time, I was going into this with no other opinion, nothing else. I downloaded it and played it with a completely empty headspace, and I fell in love. It was all natural, you know? So yeah.
I think as much as I tried to not influence you, of course I did. I think by trying to give you, because you asked me, you was like,
I asked. Of course I asked.
When you finished Trials and Tribulations, you were like, okay, tell me what's to come.
Yeah.
And I told you my opinion. And of course that's going to influence you. So I do think it's completely reasonable that...
It didn't affect Dual Destinies.
It sure didn't. But I think it's great that you just came in with a complete slate.
Yeah.
Not knowing anything about Ace Attorney Investigation 2. I don't like it as much as you do. It's a great game. For me, it's an 8.5.
An 8.5.
It's a really good game. I adore Gregory Edgeworth. I think he's a great character. He's such a nice dad. He's so adorable. I loved seeing Larry Butts. His dynamic with Miles
Edgeworth we forgot
is
Larry.
Spot on. Yeah. Is spot on. Here's what I'll say. I think the Inherited Turnabout is too long. And that kind of...
I agree.
It's complicated for the pacing of the game.
Yes.
I agree with loads of the points you made. I just think I don't have the same magic as you have. It was a good game.
And how it connected all the cases. That's what you like the most. That was
interesting. I really like that. It's like Trials and Tribulation. All of the cases are connected. It really felt amazing.
Yes.
I do think Inherited Turnabout was too long. Raymond Shield was a bit of a perv. It was kind of like, but I do still like him. Courtney was amazing. I loved her relationship with John March. I think it was done great. Mm-hmm. I do agree that the logic of the murders were confusing from times.
Yes.
Because it seemed like even Edgeworth didn't fully understand them. It was kind of like that. I did like Sebastian Debeste. I hated Blaise Debeste.
Wait, what did you say?
I've already told you this. I did like Sebastian Debeste.
Okay.
I like him. I think he's an interesting, protege of,
I have him in my note here.
Really?
I don't like him. I just never vibed. I think he deserves at least May instead of no. I think I was being a bit harsh. But I just think he takes away from Justine Courtney, which I forgot to mention.
Interaction with Edgeworth was really interesting. This whole, you need to find your own path. I liked it. I hated Blaise. I think he looks moist. He's just, he grosses me out.
Can we characterize Blaise?
Yes.
Blaise is the dad in his 40s or 50s who thinks it's acceptable to wear really tight spandex when he goes to triathlon stuff, and he buys cashew or something else like nuts in bulk and puts them in his living room in bowls for when guests come over, but he never has guests over, and it always just gathers dust, but he eats it anyway, and he just doesn't shower because his beard is full of sweat. At the animation, when he soaks his
gross.
And he goes to triathlons and stuff, like I mentioned, and he always wear cycling shorts and his bulge is sticking out, and you just want to stare away, but you can't.
Here's what I think about Blaise. I think Blaise is the type of dude who didn't get laid throughout high school and Blaise every single woman he's met since.
Of course.
I think he's an incel. And that's why we don't see Sebastian's mother. I think there's so much anger. I think Blaise is one of those short guys that think it's because they're short that women are not into them, but it's mostly because he's a horrible person.
I don't think he's short.
I think
he's presented as tall.
I see him as short. Is he? He has short vibes.
Ooh, and babe, that red leather jacket is really not it.
I didn't love his design. I think it's not really
I think the
cohesive
designs are
with-
lazy. I told you this. Like with
Yeah.
Karen Jensen and her mom is
Her grandma.
lazy AF. That's just
It
lazy
is.
work.
It just also, why are they hitting each other? Just why?
I don't know.
Answer.
I
Riddle
didn't
me
like
this.
them at all.
But the locations were amazing, and the
Yes.
twist was wow. And the way everything connected together. So that's why, for me, it's an 8.5.
An 8.5. That's respectable. I just
That
want to say I love
concludes-
Justine Courtney.
Yes,
Shout out to
of
Justine
course.
Courtney. Overruled. I think she's...
Courtney, if you're listening, please come on our podcast.
Yes, I think I know she's a shallow written character, like she belongs in Apollo Justice, but but she doesn't have that much development because it's all based on her motive. Like she's being a bitch and then she just isn't a bitch
Yeah.
anymore. But
She's frustrating during the first 2 episodes. It's just like, I've already proven you that this person is guilty, where you still like that. Like,
what?
in the second and third case, it's very clear that the person we're pointing at is the culprit. Like, they practically
Yes.
admit it, but she's still like, no, I don't believe it. I'm on their side, and that's
the
frustrating.
goddess of justice won't allow you.
Exactly.
I mean, come on. But yeah. Okay, so I'll summarize my scores and rank them in the order of highest to lowest. So first, I think, is Trials and Tribulations. I'm a sacrilegious person. I think it deserves first place. It's unbeatable, even by Investigations too. So Trials and Tribulations comes in at a 9 or 9.5, depending on how I edit this. Second is Investigations 2 with the same score. We have the first game after that. Then Justice for All. After that is Investigations 1, Apollo Justice, Spirit of Justice, and finally, Dual Destinies.
Okay, so here's mine. Mine is Trials and Tribulation first with a 10. Then Phoenix Wright aceattorney with a 9. Aceattorney Investigation 2 with a 8.5. Justice for All with an honorable 8. Then we have Dual Destiny with a 7. Aceattorney Investigation 1 with a 6. Apollo Justice with a 5.5. And Spirit of Justice with a 4.
That's it. We've done it. And
Oh my god.
it's only half an hour
This was
late.
intense.
Yeah, it was intense.
I'm gonna go take a nap afterwards because I feel like this has drained me from my
Bitch,
energy.
it's 7:30.
And what about it?
Okay, Miss Ariana.
Thank you for tuning in.
I just want to say I love all of the games. And yeah,
Thank you for tuning in, and thank you, Aris, for saying that all of the games are great. This is a good point. All of the games,
Yes.
even though even Spirit of Justice is an amazing game. Like,
even Dual Destinies is a great game.
don't you say anything about Dual Destiny. But join us next week. We're gonna talk
here's
about
a preview.
yes. Our topic for next week is going to be location and settings. So please tune in on that. It's going to be a very fun and interesting episode.
Yes. We kind of figured out a schedule because we said last time that there wouldn't be a schedule. But
we changed our minds.
We're recording on Thursdays now, and the video should be up either Thursday night or sometime in the weekend. So this is our daily schedule. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you return next week. And
Bye.
what else? Yes, and
What
goodbye.
else? Goodbye. Have a good weekend. Bye.